we finally laid down for a few hours of rest. One last breath of fresh air before we step into the Seriously! Can this man never catch a good night's sleep? Eva? No! And we are so back, answering the one question that is literally the title of this video. I presume. Welcome to Can You Get All the Baldur's Gate 3 achievements in just one run, Act 2 Edition. For a quick recap, our reload counter is up to 11. That's already edging close to 4 extra punishments in the upcoming Unmode run, and we're not even halfway through the game yet. I hate myself. But hey, we've got 20 achievements in the bag already. Well, 21 now, thanks to the plot thickens. We made it through Act 1. Now we are heading through the Shadow-Cursed lands to reach Moonrise Towers. Why am I saying that like I'm Dora? Dark! Come on, Dora! Dora! Let's go! Dora, he hates goblins! Dora! So we kill the first one that we see here. Grab a torch. Stay in the line. Sneak attack. And die. Act 2! Achievement comes this way. Hey! With one less goblin defiling this plane, the local wildlife finally returned. Just shadow-cursed. Like the orcs we walked past with the remains of a caravan and the corpse of a tiefling.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
We then encountered a group of absolutists who just so happened to be waiting for us and the lyre in our pocketses. They asked Dork to pluck a tune, and much to everyone's surprise, especially mine this time, he channeled his inner bard again. Oh, so when it's not for the achievement, you can do it, but when you are expected to perform for real gold, you sound like Matt Mulholland playing his rendition of the Titanic flute. Damn it, Dork.
Yes.
Our guide appeared before us. An abomination of legs, chest, and a vague demeanor that could only be described as Shelob and Legolas surely had a different sort of stinger encounter in this universe. The convoy then set off with Legolas to go to Moonrise Towers. But when we walked past the house, we had to make a choice. Would we play nice and keep up the absolutist act? Or turn on them and side with the Harpers just to kill the few goblins that were still breathing?
What are they doing? We thought they were true souls! Traitors! Heathens!
The fight was brutal. Karnas proves to be a nightmare with his multi-attacks and his spindle-web sanctuary, and the Harpers were pretty useless. I honestly thought I would get a game over in this fight, but thankfully, Karlach stepped the fuck up, knocking Karnas prone, and then everyone managed to miss the huge spider body lying helpless on the ground. So Astarion had to come through and finish him off. Even though Brantos said this after the fight,
Let the lantern's light be your guide.
there was no light to follow. Heck, they ran so fast that we got insta shadow-cursed and nearly died from it too. Should have defended Legolas.
They're taking the lantern to Last Light Inn!
By some miracle, aka torches, we made it to Last Light Inn, and Brantos did actually do his best to help us get inside. But despite Dork literally telling him they had brainworms just a few minutes ago, Jaheira still felt the need to make a whole damn scene about it. Like it was some big secret. It was only thanks to Mol, who, not so humbly, listed off our achievements, that she let us in. And honestly, I do not know why Jaheira was so hesitant about letting us in when the literal devil Raphael was casually hanging out at the inn. Preying on Mol, no less.
Please let me smack this creep.
And if that wasn't enough, he also went full Magic Mike on Astarion to show off his scars. Not that we were, particularly bothered by that, or looked much at the scars. Look at Dork trying so hard not to look down. Chest, It's the jest. Anyway, Jaheira informed us about General Ketheric Thorm and his apparent refusal to die. Seems like a theme around here, because guess who else is still kicking?
You're all right. Thank goodness.
The one, the only, Alfira. And this time, it's all thanks to Roland.
He said he stayed in the grove because of you. And I'm damn glad of it.
Oh, so it was good that we convinced him to stay in the grove. Alfira also dropped a little nugget of there being potential survivors from the attack who might have been taken to Moonrise. Curious, as we do have a rescue mission on our achievement list. So we tried talking to Roland, hoping he'd offer some more insights into the situation, but nope. The guy was too busy wallowing in self-pity to even be remotely useful.
None of this would have happened.
Excuse me?
You go save the world. Or your own arse. Or whatever it is you do. I'll fix this.
Fine, Roland, go fix it yourself then. Like me saving my own ass and the world does not include you. Back at camp, we tucked in for a nice long rest. It was not a nice long rest. Miss Zora popped up, dumping a new mission onto Will that, like many things here, would lead us to Moonrise Towers. But since Dork was oh so perceptive today, we got the opportunity to renegotiate Will's contract. A very important step for Will's loophole. Achievement. Of course, Dork chose violence, and with a barely passing roll, Miss Zora begrudgingly agreed to consider amending the pact. Later. Because damn clauses. And damn Dad! That is barely an outfit. But those are some quads.
Now I must rest. And you must carry on. Do not let my efforts be in vain.
Oh yeah, you can rest, yeah, but at this rate Dork is going to start hallucinating from sleep deprivation. Wait, no, I think he already is. Unfortunately, hallucinations were only getting worse as we met Isabel for the first time. She blessed us with a protective spell, but Dork's urges were clearly getting worse.
You can't help but dream. To kill her would destroy all of Last Light.
Though it wasn't him who spilled her guts. No. A heavily disfigured Marcus stormed in with his winged horrors. And one of them got the honor of clawing at Isabel, knocking her out cold. Which means the entire inn succumbs to the shadow curse. Which means all the tieflings die. Which means reload number 12. Take 2 went significantly better. Isabel lived, the tiefling survived, and Dork only got mildly possessed by a demonic little girl.
Me oh my Hermione.
And she had a lot to say.
Me oh my Hermione. Me oh my Hermione. Me oh my Hermione. Me oh my Hermione. Me oh my Hermione.
Me oh my, please fucking die. Even after the fight, it would not stop.
Won't you help me? Set me free.
Turns out, it was just the moon lantern that we'd received from Isabel harboring a winged horror. A pixie. A pixie who clearly enjoyed twinning with Dork's purple aesthetic that matched her own. Because once we freed her, she granted us a permanent Shadow Curse protection. For all parts of the Shadow Curse.
What more could a dingus want?
We then caught up with the tiefling kids who were devastated about Mole getting kidnapped, meaning there was yet another tiefling kid in need of saving. What's new? Floric was also at the inn, and this time we did not accidentally explode the room upon seeing her. Instead, she came bearing news about Duke Ravengard, who was also supposedly being held at Moonrise. Then we learned about Art Sleeping Beauty, and then swung by Damon for some good news.
That can make it possible for Karlek to touch people.
We had the iron, he had the skills. It was seemingly going well for us, but the good vibes didn't last, as Damon dropped the worst news ever. Karlek's engine is burning out and there is no fixing it. I was fuming, Dork was pissed, Karlach was pent up, and that meant it was time to kiss. Finally, a proper kiss. Not that we could see much of it due to the huge shoulder pads keeping things PG, but hey, progress people, progress. Of course, the mood was somewhat ruined by the whole imminent death situation of her heart, though Damon mentioned a possible cure, going back to Avernus.
The world just might be better with you in it.
Pardon me?
Avernus. Look after yourself, alright?
Look at that smirk. Man is so wound. Back off, mate. Back off. To lighten the mood after a heavy conversation, the crew took a stroll back into the shadows.
It belongs to the shadows. Better if it's just left alone.
Oh really, Astarion? You could have said it like 5 seconds earlier, no?
Nice job, team.
These shadow-cursed ravens turned out to be great enemies, as the birds lined up perfectly for Lae'zel to take a sip of wine, unleash a pentacrush, and finally land us the punch-drunk achievement. We then explored a lot of the area and spent the next while nearly dying by the hands or, well, vines of some needle blight and the garrets of some measles, until a random path led us to...
Is that Roland?
Yep, Roland was out in the shadows trying to play the hero in an attempt to save Cal and Leah, but instead was getting his ass handed to him by shadow figures. And while he wasn't exactly thrilled that we stepped in to save him, I was. Because what I did not know at that time is that if you do not save him now, before rescuing the prisoners from Moonrise and long resting, or progressing certain quests, he dies, costing you leave no one behind, not on my watch, Roland. After a rough day, we dragged ourselves back to camp for some heart-to-hearts, as earlier that day we had found Shadowheart's favorite flower. Look, a night orchid! Finally! Dork struck up a conversation with her in which we got the option to gift it, and I think she was happy with it, seeing as she tried to crack a joke. Shadowheart, of all people.
Thank you.
And boom! Or should I say, no I shouldn't, no. Bloom! Achievement in the pocket. A moment to celebrate? Absolutely. And what better way than a long rest fueled solely by alcohol? Prime idea if you ask me. Especially when you're butt drunk and your murderous butler decides to take advantage of that by popping in for a quick chat. He gave us some unsolicited suggestions, but even pissed out of his mind, Dork was smart enough to remember he could not risk Isabel's life. I mean, we had just seen what losing Isabel means for the inn. And so they all woke up with a terrible hangover, but it granted us bottoms up. Speaking of bottoms, we ran into Raphael right after this.
Listen here, Pipsqueak.
He mentioned something about a big bad beast lurking in the mausoleum and that we should hunt it down so that he would help Astarion, but honestly, investigating creepy crypts with a hangover does not seem like the best idea. So we left that for later and turned around to stumble into Arabella at the graveyard gates. She also needed our help again. This time though, it wasn't her life in danger, but her parents. She lost them and begged us to find them for her. So we sent her to camp, dealt with the ensnared shadow figures, and we went to investigate. We found ourselves inside the House of Healing not long after. The place proved fruitful. Her parents, not so much.
That body she's working on, that's Arabella's father.
So, of course we rushed straight back to camp to deliver the tragic news to Arabella. Definitely not for a long rest and, other priorities.
I can't wait.
And what a night it was! Karlach lit up like a Christmas tree, and one thing led to another, and ...
What? ... That's what they did in the olden days.
To ruin the mood again, we broke the news to Arabella, who had to grow up way too fast in the last few hours. Between learning about her parents and hearing suspicious sounds. Oops. But if our cutie pie bowman says she'll be fine, we'll take his word for it. Back in the House of Healing, we encountered our first Thorn, Malice. Judging by his glasses and the whole surgical setting, I am pretty sure this is the surgeon from the Non-Invasive Procedure achievement. What to do? Now, I wasn't exactly keen on finding out how this guy planned to operate on us, which is why I tried to avoid any attack at all. First, by trying to smooth talk a way out of it, even hoping they'd practice on each other. But when that failed, well, plan B. And it was not bad.
Not bad, but not good.
Sure, Tableman screamed himself into oblivion, but Malice and his creepy sisters were still very much alive. Shortly after the explosion, Malice requested a tool from a sister, and I wanted none of it anywhere near us. So when this happened... that nearly was a reload. My soul left my body a little bit.
I'm having chest pain!
What followed was a rhythmic procedure of downing the sisters, doing hits on Malice, running away, Malice reviving a sister, him waddling closer to us, and repeat. But our surgeon never got close enough to actually attempt surgery at all, or do any attack for that matter. So upon his timely demise, we got the trophy. And from his body, we got the actual instrument, the lute. The looted lute. You know, the one to wake up Art, which is exactly what we did next. By Dork once again being such a musical prodigy that one chord struck true.
Daniel! He's still trapped there. He needs help.
And Sleeping Beauty woke up, asking for Halsin.
Find Halsin. Please.
So where are we going? To Moonrise Towers! Not because Halsin is there, but because I did not want to go get him. At Moonrise, we easily talked our way inside as the true souls we still definitely aren't. And inside we encountered a few familiar faces, like Roa Moonglow, the Zentrum trader from the Goblin camp.
Of course. Just before some godless lunatic purged the place of every innocent soul. A pity neither of us saw what happened.
Oh. She knows about our massacre. I mean, I guess she had front row seats. As did we.
Better to keep that quiet. Unless you want another look from the receiving end.
Luckily for us, she also dealt with amnesia. A special merchant's amnesia. And honestly, gotta respect the hustle. Then, inside the audience hall, we had another reunion coming up, with 2 regulars this playthrough. Minthara, who was still alive despite our earlier knockout in camp, and our BFF Saza. We also got to meet some new faces, like Zarel and the big man himself, the main Thorn, Ketheric. And as far as villain introductions go, he did not disappoint. Oh man, he is so cool. Oh, yep, that's what you get when you F around with an immortal being.
Dispose of the rest as you see fit.
Alas, we had to disappoint him, even though Dork wanted nothing more than to let the goblins choke on their own spit. I mean, that's gotta be known by now. But achievements come first, and with Saza among them, we had to let them walk out the door. Honestly, I am a little disappointed in past me for not just fleeing them after the pop-up, but Dork was urging for other things at this moment in time.
You yearn to flay him until he forgets himself, as you have.
After acting like tourists in the Absolute's lair, in which we helped Astarion learn that he makes his own choices,
I will have to decline.
Gave a blood donation, and freed a sentient gnoll from their master, we returned to camp, where Gale summoned Dork with a mirror image of himself. Sitting beneath the shimmering sky, Gale hit us with some heavy stuff. He confessed his fears now that we reached the absolute stronghold, convinced that his only purpose in life was to blow himself to pieces for the greater good, or more so, Mistra's approval. But as much as Mistra may like that, we don't.
Babe or crone, coward or hero, death is assured. There is no point in running from the inevitable. Better to meet it on my own terms.
Dork reassured him, just like with Karlach, that we would make the inevitable evitable. And so they sat there, bros being bros, with a slight flicker of hope on the horizon. And you know what? Perhaps it was time to restore the hope for the rest of these lands too. We checked in with Halsin, who then checked in with Art, who then spoke about Taniel to Halsin, who then spoke about Taniel to us. A spirit he believed could heal the shadow curse. Then so, with very little information and zero prep, into the Shadowfell he ventured.
Stay close to the portal. Buy me what time you can.
Wait, so what does he mean by me what time you can? Do we do something? Are we supposed to like... Oh! Of course. Yeah, no, yeah. Waves of shadows and Shadow Curse tried wrecking the portal that was holding on for dear life. But somehow, it was still standing at the end of the final round. And so, with 0 reloads, he returned carrying Taniel in his arms.
It's done.
What are those? Oh, he did. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was so disrespectful.
But something's wrong. It's almost like something's missing from him.
Oh no, he's not dead. Okay, he's just missing something. He's just missing something. Yeah. Shoes. I need to stop. But ain't no stopping now, as it wasn't long before Taniel's missing half revealed itself. A little hide and seek later, we pursued Oliver to bring the two spirits back together. Except a fight ensued. Shadow Flush in an owlbear form. That's cute. Thanks to that cute reminder, and after defeating them all and talking Oliver into reuniting with Taniel, I got back to camp to work on our little owlbear related trophy. Now, I tried petting Scratch and the cub right after one another a few times before, but it never worked. And this time, I had the grandiose idea to try it with an animal speaking potion, but still, nothing. Luckily for me, that same night, everything fell into place during the special long rest event that I only triggered because the other long rest events were finally gone. In it, Scratch and the owlbear cub curled up together, finally at ease, and this was the moment for Dork to pet them both. He really does have 2 hands for this reason.
Thank you.
For our next stop, we returned to the Rightwind Town waypoint and walked into the toll house, where we bumped into Dorm Numero 3, the toll collector, who, for the achievement, needs to be slain without her using gold against us. Easy, right? Well, a conversation started, a roll failed, and before I knew it, we were drawn into battle, where Garangoth instantly lashed out with a gold attack. Twice. Oh, thank Thorm she missed. The fight raged on, and it slowly became clear that it was the skulls that had to go first if we wanted any chance of dealing proper damage to Goldilocks. And then on her turn again, she summoned a coin halberd and explosive hordes before running up to us, but she didn't attack. So we kept focusing on the heads, one by one. They fell quickly, leaving no time for her summoned weapons to make a move, and with Astarian's final blow to the last skull, a single strike sent Garangoth crashing down. And I waited. And I waited even longer. Did she hit us? I don't think she did. I rewatched the footage and yeah, she hit Dork, but with a claw attack. Now, I did not think that counted because claws do not really substitute a gold attack in my mind. And upon further research, even the wiki page says nothing about her claws being a gold attack. They did mention the other ones, but those coin whips at the beginning of our fight missed. The explosive hordes did not go off. And the halberd did not even move. So either the summoning itself was problematic, the missed attack still counted, or the claws in Dork's skin were enhanced with a fresh set of golden nails. This second time round, we came prepared. Armed with all this wiki knowledge on her, I sent Astarion in to collect every single gold pile in the area before the fight. I also sent all the money we carried ourselves back to camp, ensuring no jealous avarice attack could trigger, and then had Dork initiate the fight so that the skulls lose their invulnerability, which then allowed Gil, Astarion and Karlach to attack them from the rooftop. With a potion of speed distributed across the team, we went all out to kill her in as little rounds as necessary. However, when Garangoat's turn rolled around, she dropped fresh dookies of gold on the ground and turned them into explosive hordes. Thorm then scurried onto the rooftop, a little too close for comfort, and we do like our personal space, so Gale thunderwaved her off. Meanwhile, everyone else focused fire on the skulls, ignoring Garangoat as she scrambled back up to us, for with one last round of magic missiles, the final skull shattered. And with a burst of Ignis, down she goes. And this time the achievement popped up immediately. So highly likely that it was the claw attack in the previous round. Also, don't you guys think it is weird that Garangoat has a related achievement, Malice has one, but I walk in to meet this beast of a Thistlebolt and there is none? Truly the laughingstock of the family. And so Dork and Thistlebolt formed the purest bond known to Faerun. Two alcoholics trauma dumping with limited questions, more drinking, and throwing a Smeagol fit while drunk.
Don't say it. Okay.
I am so glad they put a character in this game that represents me more than I do. Even ending in death, O nation. Not that I do that. Yet. Underneath the loose planks, we found something special. A ledger. The very one that he who was, whom we met much earlier in the Shadow-Cursed lands, wanted as proof of a grave betrayal. So we brought it back to him. Madeline's treachery was exposed and it was time to indulge in his vengeance. After all, that's what he asked for.
Make her beg. Make her suffer.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yes, keep going.
Sorry.
But thereupon, he turned on us.
You treacherous insect!
Who's the treacherous insect? I only obeyed your orders. Do you know, that guy from the Goblin camp? I forgot his name. He would have loved this. Loved it. But fine. Guess it's time to turn he who was into he who wasn't. And that makes absolutely no sense. But he will never become he who is, I guess. After that debacle, I did a quick check-in with Karlach as she did not approve of our previous actions. But Bay's good, and they kissed. With teeth, no less. Thereafter, we returned to Moonrise Towers for the big prison break. But first, murder. At the front door, I slaughtered the guards because apparently I do play like a murder hobo. And I'd say it's just role-playing, but really, who needs the Dark Urge when you've got me at the helm? Inside, we took the stairs down to the prison and discovered that Minthara was there too, held captive by questioners. And these questioners were relentless.
I obeyed to the best of my ability!
And isn't that depressing?
Damn.
You are nothing.
Dork chose to break her out. After all, we didn't spare her in the goblin camp just for her to be erased by a goblin smear campaign. What? We sprang into action and handled them with ease, and Minthara, now freed from their grasp, joined the team. We stepped outside the room and immediately get into trouble with the next god, but nothing we can't handle. The next two gods were built different, and with a thunderous smite, Minthara fell to the floor and never gets up again. I was hoping I could revive her, but the quest logbook showed she was done. I remember debating whether I would quote-unquote waste a reload on her, as it did not click in my mind that she is a prisoner too, and thus matters for the achievement if she is there. But thankfully I did. We could have approached our escape with more care this time, but brutally fought our way out again. This time actually reaching the docks alive. There, Astarion managed to sneak attack a guard to thin their ranks before the fight even began, and as we turned the corner and the fight began, we took care of the rest of them. In this area there wasn't much to do except for blowing up some tadpole cargo, and we found a route leading away from Moonrise. After jumping across the gap, Minthara was free and Dork offered her to join our camp. And despite her earlier actions, everyone approves? Really? Standards are dropping nearly as low as our brain cells. Still, our mission was far from over. We turned around and prepared ourselves to free the remaining prisoners. Good thing that most guards were already dead thanks to our first escapade. And no reason to stop now. We slayed the guard and the eye right across from the tiefling cell. Yet they still greeted us with insults.
Why don't you and Zevlor take a long walk off a short cliff?
Yo, they sure take after their brother. Galden mentioned that the gnomes were plotting an escape, so we headed their way. To meet Wulbren Bangle, the guy that Barkus was looking for. And for Barkus, we do everything. So Dork convinces Wulbren that we know the tieflings and are going to help to break them out. All we had to do was fetch Wulbren's hammer in order for them to break out the back wall. So we go to take a look inside the warden's office. Though the warden did not like that very much. But with some quick thinking, we convinced her to let us snoop around. But the scrying eye was far less agreeable about us rummaging around there. I tried switching to turn-based mode to avoid the guard from being alerted, but she was already there. And got angry. Mid-dialogue, I swapped to Karlak, who casually yeeted the orb near the warden, so Gil could shatter it to pieces. A few hits, one more yeet, and a perfectly timed opportunity attack finished off the warden. Job done. With the office cleared, we looted Wulbren's hammer and returned it to the gnomes. They demolished their back wall, while we provided the perfect distraction. Murder. As the gnomes made their escape, I noticed a rock path leading around to where the backs of the cells are. While the gnomes did all of the work to break out the tieflings as well, Dork dug up a chest. Teamwork. With a little help to set the boat free, because they were very slow, and a nod in the direction to go towards, they sailed off to Last Light Inn, earning us the achievement Under Lock and Key. We stayed behind to wrap things up, but eventually stopped by the inn to check on everyone. Roland finally stopped being an insufferable brat. Alfira gave us a nice reward for returning her loved ones. And Wulbren? What an ungrateful ass. No thanks, no gratitude, just more orders. Back in Moonrise Towers, we decided to do what any reasonable person would. Completely ignore Zarel and sneak off into places we are definitely not supposed to be. Astarion worked his rogue magic on the lock, but just as the dice roll succeeded, one of the scrying eyes moved in our direction.
Something is happening.
Panic. I clicked turn-based mode like Speedy Gonzales, hoping Zarel and her gang would not come waltzing over like the warden did. and Gale threw a shadow spell its way, ripping the orb apart. Crisis averted? I turned off turn-based mode, keeping everyone hidden, as we slipped inside the now unlocked room. But just as Dork pulled the door shut, a red outline flickered on the map. Then, nothing. Oh, now that was immaculate timing, if I say so myself. Do you know what wasn't? Accidentally unlocking another door, seeing movement on the map, panicking again, and walking away, but not closing the door. So naturally, while unlocking a secret room, another floating purple ball snuck inside, ready to scream. Gale, down to his very last shatter spell, blew it to bits. After dealing with the eye, we then found ourselves in Catheric's private chambers, and let me tell you, it was an alluring place. Books, notes, secrets, and a very good boy who received all the salutes he deserved. But while the living-ish creatures were friendly for once, the furniture was not. A mimic tried to eat us, but we dealt with that. A guard then tried to stop us. We dealt with that too. And our wizard ran out of spell slots, so we dealt with that too by benching him at camp. And that's where Minthara announced her presence. Free from her cultist haze, she was surprisingly endearing. So of course she could stay. I mean, Dork had already stolen her camp outfit for the impeccable cloth to chest ratio, so now they could match. Chesties! And the moment her portrait appeared in the party lineup, we unlocked an achievement. Expand your mind. So she's definitely been snorting up parasites in her time as a cultist. That's cool. That's cool. And brilliant, actually, because now we don't have to. With another achievement secured, I immediately turned on my decision. You know what? No, I think I'll bring Shadowheart instead, because we do have to speak to Sorrel now, and I don't think she'll respond favorably to seeing Minthara out of prison. But back in Moonrise, I looked at Sorrel, then at her squad, then at my XP and thought, yeah! We can't just go straight to murder, that's definitely worth it. Astarion got the first hit in before a conversation could even start, and thus began one of the biggest, well, longest mistakes of this entire playthrough.
I am stupid.
At first, it was great. Sorrel dropped her weapon, Karlach was yeeting people into oblivion, Dork was chanting,
Kill! Kill! Kill again!
before his ritualistic killing of Sorrel, and only 3 necromites remained. But then came the trickle of reinforcements. It started with Adept Nola, who must have heard the commotion upstairs and decided to investigate, and naturally she brought the 2 nearby guards along with her. No big deal. Except my brain's encoding overloaded again, and I proceeded with the most noobest actions I've ever seen in my entire life. I repositioned the team a little bit and have Shadowheart cast a Cliff of Warding at the top of the stairs. But instead of healing or drinking any potions or doing anything really, for the rest of the team I just ended their turns. I did send Karlach downstairs to hit someone to keep her rage active, but that wasn't a great idea either, as it triggered the scrying eye to get involved. Now, I really believed that having the high ground advantage would be more than enough, which was not an advantage at all because the bloody stairs blocked everything. You can't really throw, you're not like really in the line of sight for most spells to work. It was horrible. So I then tried luring the enemies up the stairs instead, but you know what doesn't follow you? The scrying eye. It just sits there and screams. So, for every enemy we killed, another appeared, making this an endless cycle of enemies refilling the row at the top of the screen. And I should have sent them downstairs to deal with the eye and bring a halt to this, but I didn't. No, that much is obvious. And so, more enemies joined, and it took forever. But we finally went down the stairs, ready to take out the scrying eye, except we do not have Gale with us. And apparently, it does not take thunder damage from an arrow of thunder. 0 damage? 0 damage? How are we supposed to stop this? How are we supposed to do it? We turn our attention to the remaining guards instead, and they too started screaming bloody murder. So more join. And the eye also kept screaming. Fortunately, the Absolute's payroll ran dry. Finally, because at long last, no one answered the call. And with one moment of brain cell activation, I noticed that we have scrolls of shatter, and they stand right next to the arrows of thunder in our inventory. Isn't that absolutely pathetic?
Yes! Yeah!
With one final shatter on the shitter and a clean slice or two, at last. 17 rounds of combat, 18 bodies, 1 glass pile, and exactly 37 minutes and 37 seconds later, we did it! Yes, we did it! Let's take a moment to honor the brave, brave soldiers of the Absolute. And no, it was not a mistake, just a happy little accident. Rest in pieces. What was a mistake, however, was dogs storming through the big metal doors that had a red icon I did not notice, immediately getting scolded by some lady to leave, and deciding that now was a perfect time to play a game of chicken. So what happens if we just don't do that? Is that Ketherick? Oh, yes it is. Do we go closer?
Goodbye.
Okay, bad idea.
We must find what gives him his invulnerability before we strike.
Okay, and how do we do that? Right now?
It won't work. Not until we find out what is keeping him from death.
No, it didn't work because I missed. Or not. Well, in that case... And that's what happens when you kill NPCs before they convey vital information. Or when you straight up ignore the ones actively warning you to back off. So, since Ketherick wasn't too keen on visitors, we went to the other place we had yet to explore, the mausoleum. Inside, we came across an intriguing little detail.
Isabel's grave, before Ketherick wrenched her back into the land of the living.
Wait, our Isabel? The Moon Maiden is Ketherick's daughter? Strange detail to keep hidden from us. Well, at least none of the traps were active, so we pressed on, unlocking the way to the traversal gem, opening a brand new section of the map.
Is that sharp?
Oh my god, that chat is... That scared the shit out of me. I can't even speak. Char's puzzle was no match for us, but the damn force curtain sure was. Okay, I'm sorry. Am I getting in your personal space?
That glowing seems promising. Better than getting laid out on my back again.
Dork, if you are seeing a glowing ring I do not see, then walk around it for the love of Char.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
With a lot of falling and getting up again, we made it. And upon entering the Gauntlet of Char, we were once again welcomed by a friendly local.
Stupid worm-infested cockhead! You have awoken the shadows!
Well, as friendly as you'd expect in a Charon temple. See? That's what I mean. After turning the dead justiciars into dead justiciars, we braved
the gauntlet of your Lady Char.
A path that Shadowheart in particular was eager to follow. A path which meant a bit of trial and error.
That is one big pile of shit.
The soft step trial was first on the list, and after a blood sacrifice and figuring out the mechanics, Astarion snuck inside, secured the Umbral Gem, and returned in one piece. Success! But in this game, that never lasts long. Shadowheart donated more blood, and the self-same trial began. Our task? Fight ourselves. Interesting.
Looks like an ambush.
At first, things looked promising. Astarion deleted his doppelganger in no time and rushed over to help Dork. But Dork's mirror image? Yeah, that guy was built different. Not only did he look slightly off, but he also wrecked Astarion multiple times, whereas Dork usually wrecks Karlach. Meanwhile, Karlach also got wrecked, but by Karlach herself. And to make things worse, the clones kept going invisible. Dork and Shadowheart managed to drag them back into the light, but that didn't stop all of the imposters from dogpiling Astarion every chance they got. I'm feeling like our group subconsciously holds some grudges against Astarion. Or consciously, considering they really have it out for Mir. Yup, seems about right. With 1.5 dead, we somehow made it through and claimed another Umbral Gem, dragging our broken bodies to the next part of the gauntlet. Taking the stairs down, it became clear. This game is humongous and gorgeous. It's gormongous.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
With even more blood transfusions from Shadowheart to a bowl, we moved into the Fate Leap trial. And even though halfway she missed a step, she managed to jump back perfectly onto the path and made it to the end where we received another gemstone. Finally, we reached the last chamber. Not a trial, but a library. The second we stepped in, we got hit with the silence debuff, which means no spells, no fancy magic tricks, just our group's specialty. Good old murder. Astarion stepped in and insta-killed not one, but 2 enemies without the other Justiciar spotting him. The third one triggered the fight, but he died almost immediately after, and we then silenced the librarian for good and took care of the final enemy. Then we moved into the gated area where the riddle proclaimed,
"What can silence the night song?"
Am I supposed to know that? A conveniently placed parchment helped us figure it all out as it read, "The answer lies within the pages of these books." So I looted every single book in the library until I found The Teachings of Loss, the Night Singer. It literally stated, what can silence the night song? Only the Night Singer herself, Shar. So that makes Shar the answer to the riddle then. Shar. Wait, oh yes, the statue thing, the one that we gave to Shar for, the one that we gave to Shadowheart, that was of Shar from the Grimforge? Is that it? I checked Shadowheart's inventory and realized the statue is no longer in her possession. So we went on a trip to all our favorite traders of Act 2, and thankfully at Last Light Inn, Tally still had it in stock. With my totally necessary buyback of the Idol of Shar, I returned to the Gauntlet waypoint, walked all the way back to the library, and proudly placed the idol into the socket. And... invalid? What do you mean? After a very frustrated Google search, I learned that the answer was actually the book itself, not the ancient rare religious Idol of Shar hidden deep in the Underdark with a specific Shadowheart dialogue option attached to it.
You thought of me. Thank you.
No, a book. That makes no sense! The idol was such a perfect answer. We found it in the Underdark, we lost it, and Shar's teachings are all about loss and darkness. That looks heavy. Okay, let's have Karlach pick that up. Oh, and also, it's really hard to read in the dark, so how can a book be the answer? It's stupid and I do not like it.
I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
Amanda.
I'm an adult.
Well, with the puzzle finally solved and a mild mental breakdown, we picked up the Spear of the Night and continued our exploration of the temple and its many rooms. And of course, we ran into another friendly local.
Rancid donkey scrotum!
And again, an even friendlier welcome committee from the shadows, which led to yet another fight in which we turned the dead justiciars into dead justiciars. Deja vu, anyone? Afterwards, we got to meet a huge fleshy chonker and Balthazar, a little smaller fleshy chonker. Dork wasn't too fond of seeing yet another purple-skinned, chest-loving, rib-stealing. Wait, is this the self-same trial again? Balthazar sent us out on a little errand to clear the path ahead, which led us to the final Umbral gem. Except the big bad beast Raphael mentioned, yeah, it's right next to it. Poor guy also got himself wrapped up in a hellish contract that we tried to help him break out of. First, by convincing him that his Maragons were a part of it, so they banished themselves back to hell. But an unlucky dice roll with the next one meant we had to get physical to help the rest of them. Luckily, we had our secret weapon, the Chonker Flesh, and with Chonk's assistance, the Auton fell. Meaning we not only helped the Starian with his deal, but got the final Umbral gem. The final Umbral gem. And that meant we were ready to descend. Each Umbral gem filled a slot. The door clicked open and we stepped inside, entering the final room of the area on the verge of the shadows. Wait, nope, not the final room. This is
the Shadowfell.
Where we finally learn what the Night Song truly is. And as she is the reason for Catrix's invulnerability, there was no way we could let Balthazar take her.
Fly at me, you fool! You cannot stop what is to come!
Did he just reverse Gandalf us?
You fools!
Throughout this fight, my excitement levels were through the roof, as you can tell by my voice. Well, f me. F me very much. Or in this moment, there's no need for Cloudkill to actually kill, you know? Or when I had weird thoughts again. Wait, so how do you pronounce it? Like apostate? Apostate? A prostate?
Why are you boring me? I'm right.
And that might as well be right, because to go on a quick side tangent, all the pronunciation videos did not clear it up.
Apostate.
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 A prostate? Thanks, internet. Now back to the good stuff. Balthazar put up one hell of a fight, but our luck turned when we finally took him down. And Shadowheart's Spirit Guardians did most of the work to clean out the final balls. Though still, almost everybody was seeing red by the end of the fight. But we freed the...
Not a dagger, a spear. My Lady Shah's spear.
Shadowheart? What are you doing?
Her fate is mine to seal. Let me handle this.
Shadowheart stood before the Night Song and was weighing the options in her head. She kills her. She rises a Dark Justiciar, fulfilling a lifelong dream. But was that really the way to go? I mean, does killing the Night Song help with Catrix's invulnerability? I didn't know. So Dork was hoping she does and trusted her to make the right call. Because, well, it doesn't really matter, right? Yeah, no, it 100% does. If she spears the Night Song, Last Light In falls to the Shadow Curse just like when Isabel dies, which means everyone inside dies, meaning no leave no one behind trophy. But our...
Not quite Sharon.
Was smart enough to know this, and rather than spearing her, she spares her, making the right choice for us. I have chills. Actual chills. Fuck yes, let's go. After that emotional rise and shadow fell, it was time to fall asleep. Except, once again, resting was not in the stars for Dork.
Your companions sleep like blissful lumps of meat.
Narrator, I do not like what you're suggesting here. So apparently, because we did not touch Isabel, we are now experiencing an unstable hunger pang for murder of our favorite companion. Oh, Weave, save me. We actually have to not kill her through dice rolls. Starting off strong again, as usual. Third time's the charm. Oh, phew. Oh, phew. Dork tells Karlach everything. The danger she's in, the urges, all of it. Luckily, our sweet honey pie helped us through it all. And together, we can do anything, including killing Ketheric. To Moonrise we go. We meet up with Jaheira, who looked at the night song flying through the sky and thought, the beacons are lit. Gondor calls for aid, and the harpers will answer.
The time has come. Ketheric will taste of death at last.
With a perfectly timed compliment from Astarion, who clearly knows he has to up the niceness after the whole self-same trial fiasco, we walk straight into the first huge fight. Luckily, we could let out some of the adrenaline of storming Moonrise by all ganging up on Zealot Munish, the only one who must have been sleeping on the job, not hearing the scrying eye screams from before. Someone's getting fired post-mortem. We're not a single HP lost, we won the battle for the main floor of Moonrise Towers. Jaheira was ready to keep it secured, but with a well-placed consider yourself persuaded, she joins us for the next battle.
The time has come.
Is she recycling lines already?
Ketheric will taste of death at last.
The answer is yes. Yes, she is. Just like me. We're not a single HP lost, we won the battle for the first floor of Moonrise Towers. After that extremely hard work of walking up the stairs and opening the door, we, surprisingly, made it to the rooftop unscathed. And so the fight begins.
Give him all you have! The gods fight at our side!
We finally face off against a now vulnerable Ketheric with Dame Aelin at our side. The plan is simple. We thin out the enemies on the flanks so she could concentrate fully on attacking Ketheric. Before long, only 2 Necromites remained, and with the party mostly intact, victory was well within reach. Dork knocks Ketheric's weapon from his grip, Karlach hurls her pike at him, and...
You must return to your prison, and my daughter must be
oh,
reclaimed.
she's going to land the final blow.
Your daughter?
Oh, what? No, is she dead?
You will fall as sure as she. This has only begun.
Wow. Why are we just standing there? Do something! While being in awe about the fact that this was not the big boss battle, we grab our favorite wizard, leave Jaheira behind, and jump down into the gory pits of Moonrise Towers, where we're reunited with a whole crowd of familiar faces once more. First we run into us, our brain friend from the Nautiloid, trapped in a cage, surrounded by the leftovers of Chop's chopped chops. So by all means, we had to set them free. Except, Chop did not appreciate our efforts, so we gave him the chop and chop before Chop could chop us and us. And our little friend was free. Then we stumbled across someone from Dork's past. Well, sort of. He remembered her choppings, but only vaguely. But at the very least, we know she was not the one responsible for his state of mind.
That attacker is the source.
Did she just say the attacker is the source? Like, did we get food poisoning?
You sense in your soul you were something far greater.
Diarrhea, perchance? Can you imagine? That's the whole story. It was food poisoning all along. Slaughtered whole villages for it, but you know, that's what you do when you need to defecate. Speaking of things full of crap, guess who we find next?
By Grazit's cock, it's about time you came.
Poor Miss Zora, stuck in a pod in the Mind Flayer colony. She was the asset that we now need to free in order to get Will out of his contract for the loophole achievement. And so, with little effort and a lot of self-restraint not to press the other button, we popped her out of her pod. Not that Miss Zora was about to hand Will his soul back anytime soon. Ooh no, she'd release him in 6 months. A stipulation that isn't uncommon among devilish fine print. But at least we tried. Sorry Will, that achievement's gotta wait a little longer.
That seems wrong.
But wait, there's more. You thought Miss Zora was the only one trapped in a pod? Oh, so Zevlor, the cowardly thiefling, got himself locked up too. Now, we had no choice but to set them free, because he may be a coward, but he is still a thiefling. It immediately turns into a fight, and these tentacle freaks do not play around. We get charmed, we get whipped, we get mind blasted for most of it, leaving at least one of us stunned in every round. Until one mind blast takes out 3 of the 4 of us in one go. So Gale casually throws in a cloud kill to manage the final mind flayers, and we all make it out alive, including Zevlor and the other 2.
The others, the ambush. Tell me they survived?
You abandoned them. Do you really think you have the right to ask? Yeah, that seems like an appropriate response. What? Is he mad about that? I mean, it was like a normal response. Oh no, she walked straight into the noxious fumes of the cloud kill. That's costing us another reload. For we can't kill Zevlor, and I was not going to test out a knockout strategy, so we redo the whole fight without AoE spells this time, for there is simply no time to clear them before being forced into the conversation.
Ketherick is below. He thinks you're no longer a menace. Descend and show him how wrong he is.
And that is exactly what we are going to do next. At long last, we get a glimpse of the depths where the Absolute's influence festers. Okay, now that is looking like a boss battle worthy arena. Oh yeah, that much is obvious. Therefore, Gale conjures a few handy-dandy allies, and with the courtesy of the restoration pot thingy, no spell slots are wasted. And down we go.
We found it. The Absolute is behind this door.
Right, so do we proceed with caution or do we barge in? Let's hide. Let's hide and then do it again. Can we get a round of applause for Pastry for finally learning a damn lesson? Took you long enough, brain. And look at you now. No better time to be strategic, especially when walking into a room with these 3.
The Edict of Bane.
The Lash of Thor.
Is it giving Power Rangers? Oh, let's go. Wow. Oh, here he comes. Lord, he coming.
The Testament of Merkel.
Wait, now it's straight up giving Donna and the Dynamite. Oh, please tell me you guys see that too. If not, editor me better realize the vision. And after that nonsense, Gale decided it's time to take the spotlight for him and him alone.
I must do as Mystra commands.
Oh, Gale, no. No, you can't really think we're letting you orc yourself.
What choice do I have?
Literally so many. Like, we'll find out about them, I'm sure. After our villain introductions and an explosive gale, we learn that Duke Ravengard is tadpoled, gift-wrapped and shipped off to serve the Absolute along with Orin and Gortash, leaving us with the main man, Ketheric. Dork steps forward, alone, to keep everyone else hidden, though Ketheric really should have seen them in this dialogue moment.
I will kill you now, and then I will raise you as my servant.
Okay then. Let's go. The fight begins and somehow everyone is still in hiding except for Dork. And he yells out some important information about Ketheric's invulnerability persisting for as long as the Night Song is caged. Good to know. Gale steps in to give the Necromites on the top floor a nice ice bath, instantly killing 2 of them. Lae'zel jumps across the chasm and up to the platform, where she lands next to the Mind Flayer, and promptly throws him down onto the Intellect Devourers, before moving towards the Night Song's cage. Karlach follows the same path, but unlike everybody else, does not get pulled into combat before she takes an action, and thus gets extra advantage on her pike throw, impaling the Mind Flayer. Dork then fires an arrow of many targets and an arrow of fire to wipe out the remaining Intellect Devourers. And with an action surge, Lae'zel frees the Night Song and pulls her into the fight. Which means Ketheric is finally vulnerable again. With most of the enemies gone and Aelin flying around with her moon powers activated, we focus our attacks on Ketheric from a nice distance. Because I was hoping Aelin would do the rest. But with not 1, not 2, but 3 consecutive hits on target by Karlach and a phenomenal firebolt from Gale, it was done. What is he doing?
Merkel, Lord of Bones, I am here. I am ready. I am yours.
Bro. Shut up. No way. No way. Look at him! Get out! Oh, this is sick! This is so dope! Oh my gosh! Hell yeah!
Well, fuck.
I think that's a bit of an understatement. Oh my Merkel. I am shooketh again. Okay, let's save. Save! Of course that wasn't the end. That would have been too easy. Wow, okay. Time to focus. We have an achievement to get. Oh, man, that went hard. That went so hard. No free lunches. Earned by killing Merkel before he snacks on any necromites. And since we already wiped them out in the previous round, this was gonna be easy. Aside from the fact that he spawns new ones every round. So our approach changed slightly. We do our best to kill the necromites before they hatch, and only then, if we have actions left, chip away at Merkel's HP and let the Night Song do the rest. But in the first round, Aelin gets down and no longer helps at all. And now there's no one on the platform, so Merkel starts calling the damned every turn. And thus, there go our methods, who were absolutely wonderful at helping with crowd control, meaning suddenly managing all these involucers got a tad more difficult. One of the necromites actually hatches, and we do not kill him in time before Merkel sucks a big whirl of air towards him. And if you look closely at the top bar of enemies, suddenly there was a panic. Did he eat him? Wait, let's check the log. Necromite was killed while downed. Merkel killed the necromite. Oh, okay, thank you, Merkel. And so followed a few more rounds of us holding out, well, except for Lae'zel, but finally they get it done. Merkel defeated without a lunch because we served him a whole meal. Coming with the special dessert of another achievement fulfilled. In his final moments, Ketheric cries out,
Isabel!
Oh, don't tell me she dies because he dies? He said that's so sad. And even if he wasn't fully dead yet by our hand, he sure was after Aelin used his body as a DDR pad. But it didn't matter. Ketheric was gone, and we claimed our first Netherstone. So, naturally, Daddy Tanner came to look upon the first Infinity Stone of 3. And with that, we finally got some real answers about the Absolute, the Netherstones, and the bodies they're attached to. Orin, a chosen of Baal, and Gortash, a chosen of Bane. And Karlach? Oh, she had a Bane to pick with him, alright. And then there's Gale. Gale, who had now evolved from I must off myself and all of you for my ex, to, actually, that crown looks kinda nice. Gale, are you looking for expensive snacks again? I thought we were over this. We then recruit some allies for the journey ahead, with Minthara and Jaheira permanently joining our ranks. We also check in with our favorite not-so-gutted bard, who is out here playing sad songs for the sad kids, because
Maul is still missing, and they haven't taken it too well.
Maul, I forgot about Maul. Don't tell me she was down there somewhere and I need to redo everything. At least Isabel was alright, who did not die with her father's death and is still breathing. Just like Aelin and Wulbren, who still doesn't thank us. Only ever yaps. Who cares, mate? Time to get out of here. But not just yet. A forced long rest delivers some unexpected revelations about Shadowheart's true origins and the state of her parents. And so the clouds lift, not just for Shadowheart, but for all of Rightwind Town. The Shadow Curse is gone. Aww, that is beautiful. And on that note, we catch a first glimpse of Orin and Gortash's wafer-thin thread their so-called alliance hangs on.
My prodigal bloodkin is among them.
They live?
Barely. I made mince of their ugly mind matter.
Oh.
And if they dare return, I will strip out their offal.
Are we related to Orin? Is that the urge? Questions, but no time to unravel that mystery quite yet, because we are only one sleep away from Baldur's Gate. Yeah, no, that's a lie. No sleep for Dork once again. The voice of the Absolute rings in their ears. The prism flies off, and before we even get a moment to process that, a fight breaks out against Gits? We fight our way to the portal and enter the astral plane, where we see the fabulous Disco Skull screen under siege.
I'm here! Help me! I'm under attack!
With stress in his voice, Thanor calls out to us, and off to help him we go. There's a mind flayer.
Before you do anything, I am your ally. We are in danger.
Wait.
The Githyanki is the source of our protection against the Absolute. I must subdue him, or everything we've worked towards is lost. Don't let me...
No! Daddy Tanark is a filthy mind flayer? Oh my gosh!
That's been protecting you.
Ew.
I am the one
Oh, man.
that came to you in your dreams. Help me.
Wait, but if the dad is one, then what does that make Dork? Adopted? I mean, plausible, but also, we do still have a brainworm waiting to turn us into an illithid, so he could still be our dad. Perhaps some mind reading will clear it up.
I am telling you my thoughts directly into your head.
Okay, no need to be mean about it. I passed the roll, okay?
Insist on taking a look for yourself. Be my guest.
Nothing in your colourful existence to date could have prepared you for
Ooh, that looks painful. Let me guess. He sees how he was born.
As the horror subsides,
Probably not a pretty sight.
Coherent thought.
A different father,
You must
perhaps?
do whatever you can.
Or
to
that's
subdue
why
the
Dork is a half-orc. It all makes sense.
Happy? Now, join me. Fight.
Right. Let's put the existential crisis on hold and fight with our tentacles father against the Githyanki on a guard. Hachaka. After the confrontation, Lae'zel demands answers, and so do we.
You may call me the Emperor.
Nah, we'll stick with Daddy. Before we leave the prism, the Emperor offers Dork a tadpole. After considering our potential future as half Dork, half Delithid, we return to camp where finally we get some actual sleep. Well, not all of us, because Shadow Art for some reason decided now was the perfect time to bleach her hair. Or did she? Do you guys know how many rounds of bleach you'd need to go from pitch black to this white? Yeah! She'd be balding by now. So, this is a wig. 100% a wig. I've called it. It's Shadow Wig from now on. There we go. Next. No time to process that though, because after a long journey, the moment we've all been waiting for, we arrive to the loading screen. And with that, we get the achievement, The City Awaits, as we wait on the city, loading slowly but surely, readying itself for Act 3, the grand finale. See you there.